provision a new sandbox on my CDX.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was having my Dynamics, this thing, Business Central on another tenant. That was a big problem for me. So earlier in the week,
So
I was able to get the tenant on my core domain.
so you're using
So
CDX or not? I guess I
I'm
like
not using
CDS.
CDS.
So
Delegated. Well,
CDX,
I've got partner
yeah,
license,
yeah, but
partner
CDX is
sandbox.
also available for partners. The beauty is that you can have these uh, environments, and you can provision, if I'm not wrong, one environment for a year, and then three environments for 90 days. And
Yeah, the
they,
problem with them is you can't do too much transactions, right?
yeah, as in if you are
It's only
doing
limited
trial
to
and error.
November and December.
Sorry.
Tested it. I have tested it. Unfortunately, what happens is when I'm giving demo to end customer, it
Mhm.
only allows couple of months.
3 months, 90 days.
No. The
Yes.
thing is, the transaction dates allowed, posting dates allowed in
Oh,
the Business
okay.
Central are of
Okay.
2 months.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know it because I don't do demos and all. As in, I do demos, but from a technical perspective.
So this gives you one production plus three sandbox.
Yeah, the same way on
Hmm.
each environment. And I provisioned it half an hour ago, maybe. Yeah. And this is a 90-day one where I also get CRM to test out things. So this is my CRM here, and I can play around with it. And I have disposed or created and deleted so many environments because I in the past because I was learning this stuff. So let's try to explore what's available in the default BCCRM connector, and then we'll see what other things that in the subsequent session, what other options are available and how we utilize them. So a CRM instance is, you can see it on your Power Apps environment here in the environments. So if you don't have CRM, you might see just a Contoso on your environment, and you can see it based on uh, your company did the trial. As in, do you have a CRM instance or not? So behind the scene, the CRM database also sits inside Power App. So from a database perspective, your database will also be available here, and all your tables, which are CRM related, will also be available here. Now and I'm using the word we are not the CRM people, so we can surely create custom entities here in the CDX or in the Power Apps platform by just creating a new table like this, but we will not be able to showcase that how you add them in here, or maybe add a custom field into this entity, which is right now I'm setting on accounts. So we'll be able to add a custom field easily behind the scene from here, but we will not be able to show that how it looks on CRM, because as far as I know, it's not that simple, the development side of CRM.
It's simple.
It's simple.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
simple.
much drag and drop.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we'll see that then we'll come to that, I guess. I haven't
Yeah.
done it, so we'll see that.
Can you also
So
see Dataverse in Power Apps if you had a Dataverse database?
this is the data. All these are databases.
Okay. Well, Dataverse is basically a CRM database, right? It's my understanding.
CRM is a data, and it's
Or
always
or
confusing
vice.
anybody or clear, because like if you don't have CRM, then you get this dataverse environment called Contoso default, and then when you go and try to create a data environment, it says tables are stored in dataverse, and then you have to create a database. So from a Business Central side, if we try searching the CRM here, there should be a CRM connection setup, which you cannot enable until unless you have set up a Dataverse connection. So the first thing is to enable the Dataverse connection, and then and only then you'll be able to use the CRM connection wizard. It's per environment, so you can't just switch between production and sandbox that easy because that's how the configuration is. So I'm using the sandbox environment right now. And if I search for assisted setup and search for data words, here is a wizard for that. And we'll talk about this in a separate session because this is another thing that we need to talk about later. But this is enabling the data word synchronization. You accept the license here. And this is just based on that this wizard is trying to make a connection to the external service other than Business Central. So it'll ask you that. And once you have chosen that, it moves here. Now in this window, you'll be able to see all your Dataverse environment. So if you have 5 Dataverse database, if I would have created the environment here, and let's do that. If I create my database, so now in my Dataverse, I have 2 databases, one or environment, one for controls for default and one is for CRM. So at this point, I should be able to choose them from here. And let me go back. It gets refreshed. Okay, let me exit this. Disable this. And okay, it doesn't let me do that. Is the environment ready? Building your database. Okay, so it's just building it, and we can see it here from Business Center. What's the stage of the database creation and anything about it? So let's go environments, and here it'll list all your CDS environment. Okay. Taking a while. But this is the default environment, which now seems to be created. Let's go back. And it forces you to sign in as administrator. Once you sign in, it verifies that you have the right permissions to kind of do that connection. And let me choose. Okay, it still doesn't allow me to choose that. Let's refresh the entities here on my, not on CRM, on my composer default. And it is still building. Oh, it seems to be done. So let's refresh this wizard and see does it show me, because I've seen it where people have multiple environment. It let you choose which CDX environment you are trying to connect to. All right, let's use it right now, I guess, as it is. Okay, let's move next. And here it will install and configure the integration component, which will happen in your Power App side. So if you go into your environment here, and I'm trying to connect to this one, you will be able to see the apps that are getting installed here. So this wizard is based on when you are making a connection. If it for the first time installs an app on your selected environment in CRM or Dataverse that you're connecting to. And once that installation is over and it builds that integration between the two systems, you'll be able to move forward from this. So let me see where that one is. Okay, let me see from here.
It will come in the next steps, right? Not yet.
Yeah, well,
So
it
it's
is building.
called
I guess
dynamic
it does that
dynamic
something.
No, not during the building. There will be another step that will come. It's called Dynamics 365 SMB. It will ask you to install that virtual and table app.
No, I have disabled that. I'm not trying to use that right now. That's a completely different thing, as far as I understand. But where is that section which shows you solutions, I guess? And there should be a date, 7/15. Okay, not yet here. Maybe that comes from CRM, as you're saying, CRM connection with that. So while it is happening, did anybody played around with the Microsoft Fabric? But that is another interesting thing that I'll be playing around this week sometime.
Not yet. And I configure CRM infrastructure in a very different way. You have shown me a different way today.
Let's talk about it. How
So
you
I
created that?
from admin.power platform.
Admin.power platform.
Yeah, second tab. From here, go to environments, new. You give the name and everything, and add a data store. And in the next option, you select the app as Microsoft 365 Enterprise, and it lets you create it.
Oh,
Everything is provisioned in one go. Yeah.
Okay.
And the benefit with this option is you can give the URL name.
Oh, you can pick and choose your URL as you want.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because with these, I guess the limitation is that I can do create environments. Like, let's say here. But I guess because it's around capacity constraint right now. But okay, you enable this.
You can,
right?
yeah, yes, and you can select the URL here, enter a custom URL just above that.
Oh,
yeah,
here. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can use your company name and other things to kind of create a CRM environment here.
Yes. And then you select from the automatic deploy this app bottom, sales enterprise.
Okay. Okay. So it's done. Now I'm a little bit confused. I did read about it, how you want to choose the ownership model. Now, ownership model is based on who owns the record. Is it a team or a person? As far as I've seen in all the tutorials from Microsoft and other people, people suggest it to keep it as team. And then if you enable this without synchronization, then it'll just set it up but not start your synchronization. What it is saying right now is we'll create a business unit and a team in Dataverse. Member of this team will be able to synchronize, will own the synchronized data and can assign record to other users in business unit. So let's finish this and see what comes up. Now from here, it does not bring every table that you might have seen in other demos when you set up, and that's where I guess the CRM integration comes in play when you need to activate it, and then it adds more table and relationship. It's just more or less a flat setup, and I guess it is applicable. The Dataverse connection is applicable even if you don't have a CRM connection. So let's say in your Dataverse, there is an environment which is not CRM, like we had this one, the Contoso default, and it is not a CRM database. So this setup, which is the first setup in the whole equation, kind of activates that connection. And then it is only coupled to one business unit. So I cannot have company A and company B and company C, just coupling to one particular environment. So here is the linking, and then based on this SDK version, I think I should be able to see something in this area. Let me refresh this. Okay. So here, now if you look at it, this is that integration that Business Central just installed on your CRM environment called Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central Dataverse integration, and it is managed by Business Central. So in future, if you have to remove everything from a test perspective you are doing, you'll also have to uninstall this, because otherwise when you try to connect, it will connect to whatever the configuration that are saved inside this. So this is the piece that gets installed on CRM when you set up the Dataverse connection. Haven't enabled virtual table. We'll talk about it in a separate session sometime. And then here in the integration, here are the tables that will be synchronized with the Dataverse environment that you have by default. These tables at this point seems a little bit low. We'll come to the other setup and then where you'll be able to see more tables. But the summary remains as it is. There is code inside Business Central which builds this integration and defines which table of your Business Central would link to which table or entity in CRM. And then you can apply filters both sides. So like a contact table in Business Central will be linked to the Dataverse contact table, and there will be some filters on the Business Central side, and then there will also can have some filters on the other side. So like here, the filter says that you should only synchronize filter of type first contact type person, and the company name is not blank, and then the direction is bi-directional. So that means if I change anything here, it'll go get back synced into CRM and vice versa. The CRM table is contact, and the filters on the CRM side is this: that the status should be active, the company name should not be blank, and the parent customer type is account, and the company ID. And I'm hoping this is the company ID of CRM. So it says the CRM company ID. Let me put it in Notepad. And if I'm not wrong, it also tells you to synchronize any record which is not linked to any company. CRM company ID, GUID, and this company GUID. And then this is the Boolean to sync only coupled record. Now, what is a coupled record? Where you define a linkage between how you will relate a Business Central record with CRM. Now, we all feel that the system ID should be the key, but in the similar lines, in CRM or in Dataverse, there is a GUID for each record like we have for system ID. But these two are not comparable. Like there, when you look at any record in CRM or Dataverse, and I'll be using those words interchangeably, but you see that each record, like we have in Business Central, will also have a unique GUID. And let me see if I can find that field here. So it's called system ID. No, the table name is account. So it actually calls itself the table name. It doesn't call itself a GUID. It calls itself the table name. So the table name or the entity name in Dataverse is also as a field which identifies the unique record on that table. Now, for the first time when I was trying this, I was like, oh, why did not Microsoft build an integration based on the GUIDs? Because there is a GUID in CRM, and then you also have a GUID in Business Central. So why not use that? And I guess the reason behind it, and I can be completely wrong, that the GUIDs are defined when the records are created. So a GUID of Business Central will be identified, let's say, when you create a new contact. And when you try to sync it back to Dataverse or back to your CRM, the GUID will be generated when the record gets inserted in CRM. So there will never be a linking between the two records based on the GUID because those two are from two different systems. And then there are some other options here. What happens if there is a deletion conflict? What you want to do, how you want to handle update conflicts. Do you want to, and wherever it says integration table, think about your CDX environment. So send data update to CRM. So prioritize data from Business Central, whereas get data from integration means prioritize the CRM or Dataverse data over Business Central. Here is the configuration. So if you have templates available which need to be invoked when records get created in Business Central, you can set this up. This is for Business Central, and this is again for CRM. So in Business Central, like in here, we'll see that we have these two templates. So whenever a new customer, let's say, gets created in Dataverse and it is pushed toward Business Central, this template will be used while creating that new customer. And same for the Dataverse, that whenever a new customer will be created in Business Central and it need to create in CRM, this is the template that will be used. Now, the direction here, like the bidirectional means the data will be available in both the system and it'll be synchronized whenever things change in either of the system. The other is two integration table. That means any data that's get created in Business Central will only sync to CRM. There will not be a CRM to Business Central thing. That'll happen at that time. And then this one from integration table means the data will reside in CRM or Dataverse and will be pushed to Business Central. So any changes that you do on Business Central will not go back to CRM. Now, while setting this up, I was a little bit confused that if in the beginning, if a company decides that I would like to use Business Central and I have been using CRM for all these years, all my records should come from CRM and get loaded into Business Central for the initial part. In that case, if you have to change, just for the beginning, I'm saying, to bring everything from CRM into your Business Central entity, I thought you should change all these integration to bring data from integration table. But at that point, you just can't rely on this direction because there is a mapping available per field. So now I'm saying that the contact is bidirectional. There is a field setup between the two systems, which also have a direction. So the field name in the Business Central and the field name in CRM, and then at the field level, what direction you will be using. And if there is a constant value for BC, then you define that here. If there are some complex rule based on the data that you have, then you define those transformation rule at the field level here. And here are some built-in transformation rules. Let's have a look on that. Alphanumeric text only. And what it does is, okay, it removes non-alphanumeric field. And let's see the setup of it. Let's see what it is. And there's no, and you can test that out. So if I ask this, value that if this value is coming from CRM, this is how it will be stored inside Business Central if you use this transformation tool at a field level. And I'm pretty sure that you can create new transformation rules and also add kind of parent-child relationship. So like if this rule is run, then there is a next transformation rule that can also run automatically. And then there are these built-in based on dates and time, lowercase, uppercases and all. So they'll help that. And then this is the transformation direction, that where you want to implement this transformation. Is it when it is coming from Business Central to Business Central, or when it is going to CRM? The first one is going to CRM or Dataverse, and the second one is when it is coming from there. Then you want to call validate or not is enabled here. Validate integration table fields, and then this is, there are some other setups, not null, as you can set it up here. the field values. So we'll stop there. Can I add new fields is something I was not able to find out here. As in, you cannot add it from the wizard like this, but surely, as we were talking about in the last meetings, there is a way to add new fields into the mapping using code by subscribing to the events which are available in Business Central. Where is coupling? Here is coupling. Integration coupling W, match based coupling. No, I'm not want to change that. So first let's set up the CRM one and see what new entities get added when we start or set up the CRM part. Okay. So now this should be sales for CRM. Set up connection to Dynamics 365 sales. It already identified that you have set up Dataverse connection with this environment. And then what is in advance? Okay, here in advance, we have options to import T365 solution, which is already done, automatically synchronize item availability. So there will be a
This is
job queue.
interesting.
This is interesting.
This is interesting. Yeah.
Should I enable it?
It gives. Yeah. Good. And also do this enable bidirectional.
Enable bi-directional sales order integration. Specify the synchronized bi-directional. This feature will also enable archiving orders. Okay. And what is this? Legacy sales order integration. What this does?
Only one of them can be selected.
Oh, okay. Either of these. Okay. So let's finish this. We have done this, and this is the SDK version. And this is telling you what version is enabled on here when you are looking at it. It says a different number. Let's click on it. Maybe show us some detail. Okay. Here it is only showing us entities that are being synchronized, I guess, based on that account. And then contact, look up contact ID and all. Okay. This is the CRM site setup. And let's finish this. So as we do that, you may be asked to specify admin user account. Right now, based on the code that is available inside Business Central, it is adding some new tables in the integration mapping, adding fields related to that based on whatever has been coded inside Business Central. Now, the beauty is how it works. At this point, once we enable this, you might have seen that when you create a new extension, and let me see if I have a demo environment open here. Yeah. What happens is you see these kind of tables in Business Central called CRM UOM, CRM team, CRM contact, CRM discount, post buffer, CRM role. So let's pick the CRM account one because that's what we have seen. Yeah, account in CRM is your customer or vendor. Now this table is a virtual table of table type CRM. I'm a little bit confused in this because when you create a new table, and maybe I have it here, I can choose different table types. I can choose CDS, which is Dataverse, and CRM, which is CRM. Let's see. Okay, CRM, that's an integration for Business Central with CRM, Dynamics 365 Sale. This is with CDS. Exchange is not supported on online. This is what? External SQL. I don't think it is supported on SaaS, but let's see. Yes, not supported in SaaS. Graph is online. Any of these table type other than normal and temporary are kind of virtual tables that if you remember in the back in old days, there were these views that you can create, the SQL views tables where you have to link it with an external name. In the similar way, these tables are available in Business Central, which you can access anytime and you can see all the data that is available in all these fields in CRM. And I guess where I'm coming from is I was talking to some people here in India and they were doing an upgrade and they were like, oh man, this is nightmare. I said, what happened? They said that CRM table, they have so many fields, custom fields added, and they were actually trying to build those fields manually by just doing copy paste and all. And that's where I guess there is a confusion in the community that we have to rebuild these tables or create these table extensions manually. What Microsoft does is inside the product, you get an exe, like you have seen the cal2al exe. In the same way, there is a exe available called al gtp or some exe, and
Gen,
you see that
AL
gen, yeah,
Gen, yeah, GN.
algen. What it does, it based on your CRM environment, it can pull the schema, or your CDS environment, it can pull the schema from CRM and create a virtual table for you. And it is that smart enough that if you already have a table, like if there are 5 custom fields in the CRM account in Dataverse, it automatically understands that there is a table and it creates a table extension for it. So you don't have to kind of build all these entities there. But in the meantime, our connection is done, and let's visit through it. There is an active schedule synchronization job. We'll see that. This is the Business Central client that it is connecting to the sandbox. The CRM entity is here, and let's see, is there a new thing got installed here or not? Okay, let's wait for it. I don't expect it to install a new one, but it did. Okay, so now there are two. One is for CRM and one is for CDS. Okay, the display name is a little bit changed. This is the Dataverse base integration, which we created earlier, and this is the Business Central integration, and I'm hoping for CRM at this point. There are these versions available, and these are the different publisher and descriptions here. Okay, and what we see here is this version, which is a little bit confusing because this version does not match to this version. Okay, 22.0, and it is something else. Integration solution, legacy, we have enabled this, and bidirectional sales output. So is there anything I'm missing on this setup?
Nothing as of now. This unit group mapping was a nightmare. I don't know if you
Okay,
have just checked it or
no,
not.
I haven't.
Now it's disabled. It creates a lot of problem.
It's enabled, I guess. It's
Yeah, it's
disabled for me,
now
but yeah.
enabled. It was earlier. It used to you can select that, and then you
Okay,
were able to map CRM unit of measures with Business Central's unit of measures. Now it creates new,
okay,
and you have to more or less, if it has not been configured properly, more or less you will have to retire all the items in CRM.
oh. So here is the integration table mapping in the same way, but now you see more and more tables, right? As you were talking about the customer entity, you'll see that there is a filter on the Dataverse account where it says what kind of relation it is. So it can be a customer, it can be a vendor, it can be supplier. So based on that relationship, it will filter out. So anything which is of type customer will be forced or will be pushed toward Business Central in the customer table. And in the same way, when you look at the vendor, there will be a different filter available, which is based on the relationship that's there. Can you change it here? Yes. Will system respect that? Yes. Anything that is configurable, the system will remember that and will utilize that during the synchronization process. Now, the opportunity is a little bit interesting, like other entities, that it kind of have some filters here, which is that it only brings anything in Business Central. It only syncs things from Business Central CRM which are not started or in progress. Whereas in here, it brings based on the company ID, but it does not have this Boolean enable, which is sync only coupled records, because opportunities are created and deleted. So there is no coupling available. It'll just push things based on the relationship that is set. And then this one has an integration field type as option, which is a little bit different. We'll see that. So let's look at this field mapping here. So the only field that is being transferred from CRM and between CRM and Business Central is the code field. It'll only bring that. And when you look at the payment term table in Dataverse, the code field is a pretty big field, if I remember it correctly. It's like in Business Central, there's a limit, right, of 20 characters that I can use. But if I search for payment term here, I'm on my control flow. So that is not a Dataverse table. That is a CRM table. So I need to be on the right environment, and I should be on all. So that table, I forgot. Payment terms. So the payment term table in CRM have, let's see. Let's see the columns. And whenever you look on CDX environment, you should always see that you'll see so many fields being created because those are system create field. But the code field, or the what is that field that they are mapping to? Integration field name is payment term. Okay. Payment term. This is a, let's see. This is the unique identifier, which is kind of the primary key. But this, it doesn't give me a detail. Okay. There's no code for sure on this table. So we'll see once we sync it, I guess. The setup options at the field level remain same. So when you look at the customer entity, when you go into the fields, there will be a lot of fields that are transferring within the systems. And then at the field level, you can also define the direction. What you can change here again is similar. You can't add new fields that you'll have to add via code. And then these are the filters which remains as it is. Sandeep sir, anything here that I'm missing?
Yes, this is interesting. Uh, uh, can you go on the right side? Config templates.
Okay.
They are good. BCCI customer. So if you want to update any field in Business Central, when the data comes in, you can do that.
Yeah, using these templates, right?
No. The second one, the second option.
This is
Open
the
this.
integration table config.
Yeah.
In
So you
it
can use both. So you can
yeah.
update it there, and you can bring it here as well.
So yeah, this will update when Business Central forces a record to CRM. You can define what the values will be based on the different fields, like any template does in BC, right? So these template kind of
So
then activated there.
yeah. So what happens is if we have got, say, for example, Boolean field in Business Central or a Boolean field in CRM, which you want to update at the time of coupling, you can define that here.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have talked a lot about coupling. We'll go there. So all this sync happens based on the job queue entries. So when you go in your Business Central, you can see your job queue entries, and there will be a lot of job queue entries created for all these. And I haven't created them manually. They all are created automatically based on the setup that we have done. So anything with 5339 and 5350 and things like that, these all are your kind of code behind the scene, which will make sure that your sync is happening as it is needed. Now, when you think about job queue, we might have said, oh, okay, so I'll have to wait for a while. And as Sandeep sir was saying last week, I did chatted with someone here in India, and they said, no, you don't have to, because what Microsoft has done is when you change something in BC, in the code, it automatically activates that the sync should run. It should not wait for that time. Like by default, it'll wait for 30 minutes to synchronize things. But if you change something in BC, it will automatically force these job queues to activate and sync that data immediately when things change.
but not the other way
So
around.
not the other way around. Yeah. As in when things will change in CRM, it'll have to wait for that 30-minute thing. So what else is
And
here
the
in
your statement is not true for inventory availability.
inventory availability will sync when?
Half an hour, or
Oh,
you run it
it'll only
manually.
do. Okay. So maybe that's the area that Microsoft is looking at that they should kind of start with. So when you get into the mapping, the first thing that kind of seems activated is couple salesperson. And if you remember, the salesperson is an entity which is where is salesperson? Uh, Here, salesperson purchaser. It is only coming from integration table to BC. So we are not sending any data to business and to CRM from a salesperson perspective. And if I'm not wrong, it is related to the users in Dataverse or CRM. So that's where you start it from. So when you start couple salesperson, it pops up a window and it shows you what are the different record that you have available in Business Central. And then you need to create them as users, or sorry, as salesperson in Business Central. So I'll have to link it to an existing salesperson code. These are all my Business Central salesperson. And as you activate this field kind of gets added in all these entities. That is this particular record coupled with the CRM entity or not, or Dataverse entity or not. So I'll say, okay, if I have 10 users, each of these 10 users either mapped to an existing salesperson purchaser, or I have created a new salesperson purchaser. So let's pick the first one, BC. Okay. And now if I see this, it still says that it is not mapped. And let's couple this. User and Dataverse were linked to salesperson. We want to add them to the default owning team so that they can access synchronized data. Yes. So now there is a linkage that already done is on the salesperson. And if I go in here, I should see that it is coupled. Okay. Now the synchronization has been scheduled. Let's see the details where it is doing, and it have modified one record. What has been the modification? I think it added the phone number into this record, which was not available till now. Now, if you have to see any of these entities, we haven't synchronized any entities at this point. But if I have to see these virtual tables that we were talking about, let me pop up that window here, the CRM account table, Microsoft have also built in pages for these. So if you go back in your base application and let's say search for pages, you'll see that there are some pages available, CRM account list and all. And these are the pages that you can use to see data. You can create page extensions if the field that you need are not available, or you can again use the wizard to kind of create them. These pages also have actions to create from CRM. Show only coupled record, which just filters out what are coupled and not. Show all, and then there is this. So this is the code which kind of gets activated to bring that virtual data into Business Central. This is just for the beautification of the records that you're seeing, but this is the code that you need to write on a page to kind of bring that data. Just call this code unit as it is, and it'll just bring that data for the viewing purposes. That's the only thing that you have to do if you are building a new page for a new entity in Business Central. So let's try to see this table or that page here called account data was. Okay. So at this point, if you look at it, these are the different records, and there can be more and more fields as needed. But if you see the coupling is no, that means these are not yet related to, or these do not exist in my Business Central at this moment. But if you have to view it, you can do that. And here is a question, because I haven't tried it. Can I refer this data in my code if I have to? Let's say there's a code where I want to see, is this customer, and let's assume that I have the details that I need to find the unique customer in CRM. Can I do a set range or a get on this entity? And I haven't tested it yet. I'm going to.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
We can.
So then based on conditional code that I want to write, based on if things are changing in CRM, I think that's possible in that case. Just by referring
Sorry.
this table. Like if I
Yeah.
have to do some conditional code based on if the entity has changed in CRM, I can refer this table because this will always have the latest info. And I can
Yes, we can
do
do.
certain things, right? So let's test this out. This Editum Corporation with this address something. So if I go in here, or maybe let's go here. Let's do it in CRM. This is my first customer, and let's pick this. And if I have to change the street to for this, that's a field that I can see here. Where is that? No, I don't see that. Let's change the phone number. There's a phone number coming up? No. Well, I should
Change
be
the
able
name
to.
simple.
Yeah.
Change the name
Let's change the
simple.
name.
Add
Yeah.
ABC.
So if you change here, and I think I read it somewhere, which I liked about CRM, that you have to hit save. And I'll talk about it if time permits why I like this. But as you save this record, it will automatically synchronize it here. And if I refresh this page, or maybe just do some changes. So yeah, you'll see now the ABC is here. So this is just representing your CRM or Dataverse entity as it is here in Business Central without any synchronization to, to begin with. So these are not the records that has been created in Business Central at this point, but this is just a view. If you want to look from a NAV side, that you have created a SQL view which you are accessing inside nav, and there were ways to do that. And you can refer in this way all the entities, and then there are these buttons that you will only show the coupled accounts or not, and then you can create them in Business Central from here, which is not the right way of doing it. But any entity that is available in this two stage can be accessed in Business Central using these virtual tables that you can create. Like we saw the tables and we saw the pages. And all the data that is available in all the field will be available. And then as any page you will create, that page will display the data based on the fields that you need. And when you think about, when I was thinking about those, talking to those people who were doing this upgrade, where they were making sure that the properties are correct and all, it's not the right way, at least for the CRM and table type CDS and CRM. There's a, as Sandeep sir was saying, that there is a EXE available, and we'll see that going forward. So let's try to run the synchronization and see what happens. This tells you that there are how many jobs that are actively running. A total of 17 jobs are available. And let's do a sync. Let's run the full sync and see what happens. At this point, all these integration jobs that we have in the job queue will start running. And then here is where it is requesting you to set something up. There is already a coupling criteria. And as we are talking about coupling, how Business Central and CRM will be able to relate the record between these different entities is defined based on the coupling. And there are some table where there is no coupling defined and it says select the coupling criteria. But let me see what's available here. So once I do contact, it pops up a window where you have all the fields from NAV or Business Central, and then you have these field on your CRM. Now, based on which fields, and think of it as linking the primary key between two environments or two tables, it is saying how I'll know that this record is related to this record in BC. So let's think about it. What should be the primary key of a contact table or linkage criteria? Should you use
First
the
name,
mobile
last
phone?
name, middle name.
Ah, so okay. Match on this field, case sensitivity we match. So from a Business Central side, this is text. So you can enable the case sensitivity. So make sure that you choose the right field as Sandeep sir is saying. First name, middle name, or you said last name. Last name?
Surname, yeah.
Okay. Let's say all three. Now, if it is a text field in both the system, and I know about BC. So if it is not a code field, then you can enable the case sensitive one. Otherwise, think about it, right? The match priority defines what order in which these field match will be considered. And then what happens if there is a conflict? If there is an already record with the same name, first name, middle name, or surname, how you would like to resolve that conflict? Do you want to send that data back to CDS environment, or you want to get the parent and which you want to be the parent entity? Do you want CRM or CDX to be parent entity, or do you want BC to be parent entity? Is you can choose here. Synchronize after coupling. Do you want to synchronize at the first go without coupling and say, okay, bring everything that's there to BC and send everything from BC to CRM, and then we'll do that? Or if nothing is available in the match criteria, what you want to do? Do you want to create a new record? Let's read this. Specifies whether to create a new Dataverse entity to couple Business Central record to, in case no match is found by using the matching field. So it is only talking about from BC to CRM. So whatever contacts that you have, if they are not found based on these criteria, should I go ahead and create in Dataverse entity? Let's enable that. And before we do that, let's look at the contact entity here so that we have some idea. And we were looking at what table? Contact. And contact is linked with which table? I'm a little bit confused now. Contact is linked with contact? I hope so.
Yes.
Okay.
So on the right,
Contact.
there are
Yeah.
fields and views.
Yeah, but
So this
I'm
is
just
in
looking from the
full
row
name.
side, how many rows are there? So there are 140 additional based on what we see. So if we enable this, this should push all my contacts in Business Central, if I understand it correctly, to the Dataverse environment or the sales environment. Let's enable this and see what happens. Okay. In the same way, we'll just do it here. And the primary key here is name, number, which is not visible for sure because there's no linkage between that. So we'll do a name. Let's see. That's it. There's nothing else that I can link with. And create new record. Or in this case, let's not create new record if it is not fine in Dataverse. So we have enabled that in contact. We haven't enabled that on customer. Okay. What is this? This is item unit of measure. There's only one field called code, which is supposed to link with the name. So let's do that. And okay. Item and product. Product ID makes sense. But how will Navision treat it? Let's see, because in Navision you might not be able to enter number based on your setup. Opportunity, it's a bidirectional. And let's assume this is the field mapping. And I'm not an expert on this mapping, all for sure. Resource let's link it to the code. And resource, which is product. Again, so this is also going to create a record in item or resource table. Let's
Resource.
see. Okay.
Resource.
Okay, sir. And this is unidirectional. To unit group will move from BC to integration table. Okay. And this is, sir, you are saying that there is a problem.
This is the
See that?
worst. Yes. This is the worst.
So let's not set this up. Maybe it breaks everything that you don't want to do. Okay, so let's link it based on name. And okay. So now we have set up how my records will be synchronized. If, as Sandeep sir is saying, it causes problem, I'm pretty sure you can delete entities here. Let me see. Can we do that? I think so. So on here on the unit group, I can surely go
No, no,
ahead and
no.
delete an entity.
You require this. You require this. We can
Oh,
delete it, yes, but we need it for the synchronization. Because otherwise, the sales order will not get synchronized. Items cannot get synchronized. But
nice.
there's another problem that I will explain, which is pretty relevant if you are having existing CRM, which needs to integrate with Business Central.
Okay. So then we'll have to define a unit group linking, right? So let's do that. And we are good. So let's do a sync call. Um, Full synchronization will sync all coupled and uncoupled record. You should use this option when you are synchronizing data for the first time. So this is not something that you keep on doing all the time. The synchronization will run in background, so you can do other things, and you can refresh this page to see what's happening. And it randomly and maybe based on the code, it picks up which entity it is kind of synchronizing at that moment. And you can always come here and refresh this page. Let me try to refresh this to see what
You can
is
click on
happening.
details also as well.
Details.
Yeah, details up in the blue area. Yeah, just below this, the coupling has been scheduled. Details
Coupling. Oh,
at
yes,
the top.
here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that
Notifications,
should be the job.
notifications.
This is what it is showing you that what it is doing. So from payment term to data was CRM, it inserted two records. So it went from BC to CRM entity and inserted two record into the payment term table. And remember, we said create new record on the payment term one. For the shipping agent, it modified three record. And it is going from shipping agent to CRM. There's one record inserted in the same one, and currency had three modified, and sales header. What happened here? Nothing yet. Let me refresh this again and see where we are. And there are some errors. But as far as I've read, don't worry about it. Anything that is error may have a precedence dependency on another table and will automatically get activated when that particular entity is over. That's what I've heard. I haven't tested it. Let's see. Okay, so our payment term entity has been, oh, there's an error. But which table we were in? This is contact table. What is the state of the contact table? Not yet activated. Okay. So, okay, let's see. In process, posted sales invoices are in process and they are only going toward CRM and it errored out. We'll wait for contact table because that might have reference to the customer entity. I don't think they have relation toward item UOM, but we'll see. Okay, this is succeeded. Let's see what the error is. To integration table has an error, and the error is, where is the error? Failed. 4.
You can't see that.
What?
It will simply only tell you that there are errors, number of records not matching. Bus.
Failed to couple for record because there is no unique uncoupled matching entities with the specified matching criteria. Okay, that's what it shows. That's it. What about this error? This is a different error. That's the same error. The same error. It only coupled one record. Okay. Contact is successful. First, let's check the contact. So there was 140 additional when we opened the contact table before we started the synchronization. Let's open this and see what has changed. And there should be contacts in Business Central Cronus environment, I hope. Now there are 150 additional rows. So that means it brings 10 contacts from Business Central and kind of created them here. And I think I can see, I should be able to see them, not here, but here. Okay. So let's try to understand what happened here. So Sandeep sir, what happens if there is an error?
You can go to the table, filter the records which are uncoupled,
And
and
manually
then
couple them.
yeah.
Okay. So let me copy this all and put it in Excel because I don't want to lose what is not coupled for the later purposes for making sure that I couple every possible record that I need to. Okay, I've copied this into my Microsoft Excel. And before we end today, let's go into the contact table and see how you can see our customer table and see what are coupled and not. Sandeep sir was saying on each entity here, when you get into the list view, hopefully
No, it's not available here. Synchronize.
here,
Yeah.
you can see here that only this entity has been coupled from a customer perspective. And when you open this, Sandeep sir was saying there is an action on the top somewhere which shows you the coupling details.
Synchronize. It's even on the
Yeah.
list. And
Oh,
if you click on account here, it will open up that record in CRM.
oh, it'll open up that record in CRM directly. Okay, that's nice.
And the same button is available in CRM to open Business Central.
Okay, well, this is opening. Mm, you can see when all this record has been synchronized. There were 4 which was failed based on the coupling criterias, and our coupling criterias was name field, if I remember it correctly. And I guess that's where it kind of failed. So I'll try to do
So now
is,
what?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can go and manually synchronize.
And so if we go back to 1000, which have no coupling, and where you see the account should not open anything, hope so, is not coupled. Do you want to create a coupling? Okay, let's create a coupling for this. And yes, in Business
You,
Central, and it does not exist in CRM, I guess, based on the relationship
now,
that we did.
what we can do is if you click on the dataverse and the 3 buttons at the end, if the record exists already in here, you can select that record. So like
Okay,
Eratum is already there. So you
let's
can
do
select
edit.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're not sure, then you can do a create new and just create a new record in the Dataverse. Once you click OK, and let's do that because I need that to kind of see the sync. And the synchronization has been scheduled. Let's see the detail. It modified one record in the CRM. Okay. Just take precedence over it. And now let's try to
Refresh.
change something. Here, let me close
Refresh
this.
CRM, right?
Oh, refresh CRM.
Yeah.
Okay, where is this? Let's refresh this record.
It's not
Uh,
this record. This is a Eratum.
it's this.
Yeah, it has changed now.
It has changed. Now let's try changing it here. Oh, If I change it here, I'll have to wait for 30 minutes, right? So let's not change it here.
We can manually run it from job queue entries.
Oh yeah, okay. So let's change it here. A, B, or X, Y, Z. And then you have to hit save here. Once it is done, you don't see that change happening here instantly. That's how it is. And that's where you will have to either run your job queue, or I think that there should be an action here on the sales order page. Sorry,
On
on
the
the
customer
coupled
page,
record page.
yes.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
kind of run the synchronization directly, which will also do the same thing, which will also activate that job queue in here. So if I do a synchronize right now, it'll send data, get data, merge data. Okay. This is weird. This should not say that. As in, what happens if it automatically runs? Then what it does?
So it
Let's run the
depends.
job.
So it depends upon the direction that you've set. So if you're trying to
It's
get data
bidirectional.
and it's from Business Central to, then it will not do anything.
But this is bidirectional, sir.
Yeah.
So that should do it. As in, it should not ask me what I want to do, right? So if I run this, this will create a temporary none. Yeah, okay, not a problem. Just create one. Because I have defined the way I want to link these entities, and I have defined that it is bidirectional. So I expected when I click on that button, it say, okay, I know what I have to do, and I'll update it. And as we were talking about a while ago, that if I change it in Business Central, it should automatically exactly at the same time go back and update it in CRM. So let's remove this. And because Business Central don't have a save button, it automatically kind of saves it. So if I now come back and refresh this entity, this should change or update its name exactly at that time. And I guess that's the reason I think I was saying why I like CRM, because there is, you have to click on save when you're making changes. Because think it from Business Central perspective. As soon as you define your primary key field, it automatically calls an insert, right? And after that, as you start keying in values for other field, for each field, it calls a modifier. So if you just a random number, if you update 5 field while you're creating a new customer, it is calling that modify 5 times. Whereas in CRM, until unless you hit the save, and I'm making this assumption at this point, but based on the design, until unless I hit save, there is not that modify being called. It'll be called at the end when I hit the save button. And I guess if Microsoft can implement that, which I don't think Microsoft seems to looking at that direction, but if they can think of that, we can reduce how many time these triggers are being called. And it also will impact the performance of how many times that sync need to be called, because maybe a random field or 5 different fields have been called. So when you check the synchronization log here, you will see just for these 2 instances, it has been run once, modified one record and all. But if you start changing multiple fields time by time, you'll have to keep that in sync. And I'm not only talking from this perspective, I'm also talking from the perspective of API. API need to expose the data as soon as this changes. And the way Business Central has been defined is you modify a field, it need to send an update that, oh, a field has been changed. And a second later, another field has been changed. Rather than in CRM, what I'm looking at here is until unless I hit the save button, the information is not synced, which is nice from my perspective. Okay, so we have set this up. Anything else before we let today's session off, and then we'll continue this discussion going forward.
Have you reviewed what's new?
I did. I did watch everything. So maybe let's in the next week, let's go through what's new. I see some interesting things into it. So we'll
A
talk
lot
about
of
it.
interesting things this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, John, I didn't know when you joined.
I'm here.
Okay.
Good session. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, John, Sandeep sir, Kapil, we'll see you next week and we'll take it to the next level after this, whatever is missing from that whole integration piece.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Saurabh.
And I'll look at your emails.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Yep,
Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Have a good day. Good night.